The Six Secrets of Change by Fulling kind of spins me into reflective mode. I started kind of comparing and contrasting yesteryear's organization culture with traditional American morals and values with today's and the influence that the past has had on the present. Before Theory X and Theory Y, assumptions by McGregor about motivation in the workplace, Americans' organizational culture made coffee table talk with the 1950s bestseller book the Organization Man by William White. There was actually a copy of this in my childhood home. My father was definitely an organization man, and so were the guys on the job, as he always referred to his coworkers. And those guys on the job were definitely a collective group of guys who believed that the boss was right simply because he was the boss. It was just part of those contemporary American values, the same things that were portrayed on early American family TV shows like Father Knows Best, Leave It to Beaver, that it was love thy neighbor, all for one and one for all, community and community building, building people up instead of tearing them down. The Six Secrets of Change seem to be aligned with some of those traditional values and seem to be deeply entrenched in Bandura's self-efficacy theory. It became kind of easy to identify the critical role of the sources of self-efficacy, verbal persuasion, mastery, and social modeling, how they play in those six secrets. Um, it I see the Six Secrets as exploring that theory of action, that it's definitely sustainable and transferable blueprints that guide organizations into holistic, inclusive operations. Secret one, love your employees. Bullen emphasizes that the customer first attitude only works if the needs of the employees are met at the same time. There's definitely a symbiotic relationship amongst all stakeholders. Everyone is equally important. It's kind of like what they tell you when you're sitting on an airplane and the oxygen mask drops. You got to give yourself oxygen first before you can help anybody else. Organizations that operate within this framework have been tagged firms of endearment for their humanistic performance, which yields simultaneous win-win situations for everyone. And organizations that do so are actually more prosperous. Loving your employees helps leaders identify strategies that will motivate employees to find meaning while they're also pursuing the goals of the organization. Increase skill development, create conditions for employees to succeed, as in the path goal theory or servant leadership, builds high performance relationships between stakeholders. The result of doing so means you have less employee turnover, more prosperous, and greater productivity. It sort of reminds me of the reality television show Undercover Boss, where executives engage in undercover missions to examine the inner workings of their corporation. And inevitably, every show they draw the conclusion that there is a symbiotic relationship between all stakeholders. And each show concludes with executives putting policies in place that create training, recognition, that benefit associates, the company, and as well as customers. Secret number two, connect peers with purpose. That's kind of like, in as far as I'm concerned, the all for one and one for all group rally cry. It's unlike in the organization man, it's the goals of the organization have personal meaning as well as meaning for the group. So this strategy calls for promoting and uniting and connecting peers, colleagues around the vision of the organization. So leadership has to take on a little bit more in the form of facilitating and directing the group. But they make sure that it's a us situation, that it's an atmosphere not of us and them, but a commitment to the us. It also validates and encourages input while allowing for information to spread throughout the organization. Um, and the peer interaction then becomes a source for self-efficacy. A quote from the book is essentially, as people come to trust one another and their work, their sense of efficacy increases and they hold each other accountable for doing the right thing. Very much like in the Wallace Foundation research on the effect of leadership and collaboration. It suggests that collective leadership, teachers, parents, the community, and district are beneficial in producing the most successful schools, and that districts play a significant role in supporting principals and putting policy in place that encourage the participation of a range of stockholders. So it's just supporting the positive productivity that follows collaboration. Additionally, in the Ross and Gray article, Transformational Leadership and Teacher Commitment to Organizational Values, um, they found the same thing and state that collective teacher efficacy is a powerful mediator of commitment to the school community partnerships and a partial mediator of commitment to school mission, and the school is a professional community. So it says the principal's role offers a variety of opportunities, leadership through collaboration, um, to, to increase efficacy. Finally, secret number 3, capacity building. Secret 3 introduces the idea of building associates up and not tearing them down, working on increasing their self-efficacy through verbal persuasion and social lead by not engaging in deficit thinking. Um, The strategy here is to allow for positive peer pressure through vicarious self-efficacy experiences. The notion is to work in and keep developing cultures of purposeful collaboration. Another takeaway that I have from this is that fear prevents acting on knowledge. And this is a psychological cue of self-efficacy and the negative effects of fear, how they can grossly interfere with successful completion of a task. Another takeaway that I have from this is the hire for purpose and potential. Um, I really feel that what they're saying is you need to hire the humble, who are bright, people that are smart enough to know that they don't know everything and want to be around others that feel the same way but can share their intelligence and their gifts and goals with them. Pfeiffer even goes on to say that talent isn't fixed unless you believe it is. In fact, talent depends on people's motivation and experiences. Talent depends on how a person is managed or led. In the study, How Leadership Influences Student Learning, that was commissioned by the Wallace Foundation, we saw examples of that. We saw that school leadership is second only to classroom teaching as an influence on learning. So the principal is an instructional leader. All in all, how you get there is by hiring talented people and keeping them. And it's all wrapped up into all of these secrets. They're all interconnected. You have to love those talented employees and develop them from secret number 1. And secret number 2, you have to develop them collectively.